Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new normal. I'm your host, Lisa Davis, aka Litecoin Lisa. Today is a Tuesday, so it's a Truth Tuesday. My buddy Satoshi Sean will be joining me. You can find information to follow him on YouTube. We'll be doing the second half of the show over on his channel in the description below in the links, and also follow him on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. Looks like Biden's poking the bear. Is that really happening? What does it mean? And what else is happening in the world? I'm going to ask Sean about it right after this. Give us a like, share the video. Hello, Satoshi Sean. How are you?
I'm good. I was actually on your channel. It's like, where are you at?
You were?
Yeah, I'm watching it so that you have the view.
Like you're on the wrong.
And I was the first person to hit the thumbs up. Just telling you.
Thank you, Sean, for hitting the like button. That helps the channel and helps me. I appreciate it. Our buddy I Am for I Am is in the chat. He had an amazing show last night with Aaron Day. Did you watch that?
No,
you have to go back and watch it. Great conversation. Aaron does like a dissertation at the beginning of the show, but it's really information filled. It's really good information and kind of brings everybody up to speed on like where we are with CBDCs and the threat and why privacy is so important. And then he goes into talking about some solutions and how different things could be affected and how bad it is that the Bitcoin's being bought up by. It's on Aaron Day, Brownstone.
That's amazing. Leave that on my channel after my show because I want to save that. Miss y'all. Tuesdays seem like lives without Shit Tuesday. That's
aww.
That's awesome.
I agree.
Yeah, I've missed y'all. Missed you a lot.
I know. Yes. And even today my kiddo was sick and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna miss. I need to get out there. We need to talk about stuff. He's supposed to be resting now, so he's been up all night. But
I'm still I'm in a lot of pain. I'm sorry.
You're in a lot of pain still?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff wrong with me.
I'm sorry.
I have a big tumor in my neck.
What?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
It's been there a while, but
you've never said anything about it.
I think if I say what you're gonna get mad at me. Everyone got mad at me.
I'm not mad at you. I love you.
So I have the thing with my wrist, right? That I told you. It's like this weird pain. Ted thinks I have carpal tunnel syndrome. My thumb hurt, and then Alex is like, "Oh, you gotta pull it," and he yanked my thumb and moved it around. I think I ripped tendons, and then he ripped all the tendons in my wrist, maybe. Or I have carpal tunnel syndrome, but I never had that. What my doctor told me years ago, I had something called tennis wrist. Anyway, it's this weird pain that seemed to sap my strength, make me weak, and I almost felt like I was dying. But I think I was dying. But I think I had sepsis because I think it was just the same time that the tumor on my neck blew up, like got huge, and like I couldn't turn my head. I could still barely turn my head. Anyway, I had it for like a year or so.
Does this all coincide with the hospital stay and all of that? They dropped you out of the ambulance and
no, that's it. Well, that's the thing. If I go to the emergency room, I know if I went to be like, oh, you got to go to the big hospital somewhere else, and then they'll be like, oh, and those people would come, and I'd be like, no, I'm not gonna fucking go. Mm-hmm. And then I have to fight, and probably I don't even know if they try to force me to go, but I'm not getting in another. And that's the thing. I was too weak to get into the van to go to the hospital. Whether I can't go in an ambulance, I can't.
Yeah, so, I wouldn't trust them after what you've been through.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm a different person. Like I'm scared of pain, but I'm not scared of it. Like, oh, But like if I'm sitting there, like, when you get up and your knees creak and like you're gonna have this pain. Like in my head, it's just like, oh, it's coming. So I'll sit somewhere for like 10 minutes before I
Wow.
stand up, and it's like it's not a big deal. Like when I stand up, it's like okay, well, it's not a big deal. And then you go to the bathroom or do whatever. But anytime I know pain is coming, I have anxiety, which I never had anxiety in my life.
I remember you talking about that after, yeah, the
And I have to be in control of anything. If someone is in control of after because they drop me, you know what I mean? And they're like,
oh, I
"Oh,
remember.
you won't fall." And I'm like, y'all gonna drop me? This woman is tiny, and I'm like a 300-pound dude. This woman is small, and you are a little man. I was like, "There's no way." I said, "It's not nothing against you guys." They're like, "No, trust us. You can't." And then I, I had my eyes closed. They're, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And then so when they brought me home, they had to bring me home in an ambulance in the
Oh
middle of
my
the street. They pulled me out, and there was 4 dudes in 2 ambulances. They charged me $15,000 to bring me home. Yeah, I know. The hospital told me your insurance will pay for this. No,
no,
they were nice ambulances. They were Mercedes-Benz ambulances, but they took me out, and as soon as they put me down, middle of the street, I'm like, okay. They're like, no, we have to bring you in the house. I'm like, fuck off. No. They're like, don't you want this isn't very private. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be on this gurney. I don't want you to be I'm in control now. Leave me alone. I can't have anyone in control or doing anything. If I was a woman and a dude pulled the chair out for me or wanted to put in, I punch them in the face. I cannot have anybody like trust anyone to be, like help me up or do
I
anything.
know they were trying to get you to use, like a walker in the hospital, that had wheels on it,
Yeah, and I was like, no.
and you were, like, scared to death that it's gonna slide out from under you, and you're like, "Just let me use what I'm used to
Yeah, I
doing."
was like, I have a
Gives me
cane.
some security. Yeah, that you
I'm using my cane, my
right.
shillelagh. I brought my shillelagh to the freaking hospital, and they're like, "Well, that works pretty good, but this has four legs." I'm like, "Yeah, but 2 of them have wheels on it, woman."
Yes.
I was like, "No." I said, "It's
Not
slippery."
you do not wanna put someone on roller skates that is
They were
heavy.
arguing with me. I was like, "No."
Yeah, it's terrible.
And I said, "No, no, no, no." Plus, I'm bent forward. I was like, "I don't want to bend anywhere." It's I don't know. I still
That's
can't
all.
have no lawyer will take my case. They
I
broke
hate
my
that for you.
thigh.
Yeah.
That it, they're all lawyers are just so focused on like easy wins that every lawyer is like, oh yeah, that's
'Cause they want their record to look
yeah.
good
They're
or
like,
whatever.
we don't do medical malpractice because then a bunch of shit happened when they forced me to go to the emergency room,
Right.
right? And then I'm like, but it was an accident. They pulled me out of it. They dropped me out of the ambulance, and I was like hanging there and they broke my thigh. They're like, yeah, that's an accident, but the whole thing, you gotta do it for the whole thing. I'm like, well, just represent me for that part. I'll have another lawyer for once I got in the hospital and the stuff they did. They were
Right.
like, nope. And then all the medical malpractice, like, no, that's an accident. They dropped you out of an ambulance. So literally just back and forth.
That's an accident.
Because, yeah, it's an accident. The ambulance was an accident. And then they promised me at
So
my
what?
hospital, you don't have to go to the emergency room. The emergency room at that place, famous for being the worst emergency room in all of Texas. They've killed people.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
it's like it used to be called Metroplex. It was called Murderplex, is what everybody called it. So they're like, you don't have to go to the emergency room. You're not going to be there for 1 minute. You'll go straight to the cardiac unit. It's a very good unit.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, but they're like, you have to go to the emergency room, and I'm like, no. They're like, no, we dropped you. You legally now have to go to the emergency room because of the accident, and, and I have to pay for it, even though they made me go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
They didn't even offer to pay for it. So I went to the emergency room, and there was a dog. I told you there was a dog in the emergency room, just running around. There's just a little stray dog.
What?
I was like, I looked at Alex and like, you saw the dog? He goes, that was a dog. I'm like, okay, good, because I wasn't sure if I was,
Thought
out.
you were losing it?
Yeah, just a stray dog running around. And it's not a little hospital. It's not like a junkie heights. Very like all the money for the area goes into it. It's
Crazy.
I don't even know how we got on this, but
I don't know.
yeah. So the tumor, right?
I hope you feel better.
So, look, I had this tumor got this huge. Couldn't move my neck. The
Oh yeah.
CPAP's on it, and I think I had sepsis for the past 2 weeks, and I was septic, and that was what I felt weak.
Are you talking about these past 2 weeks?
Yes,
Oh my
that's
God. Well, you need antibiotics for that.
I'm getting better now because it's been 2 weeks.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I think it just happened. It coincided.
I don't think you
Weird,
can
with the
just get
weird
better
thing
sepsis.
with my wrist. So I just associate the fact that I'm dying with this wrist pain, when in reality it's the big tumor on my neck. And I figured it out. Like, now I'm starting to feel better, but the tumor's gone down. So I was like, oh, so that was like, oh, that makes much more sense. But I should have went to the emergency room. But it was Oliver's birthday, and then it was Ted Nels.
Oh, I remember. Yeah, the baby's
So,
birthday. Well, anyway, I'm glad you're feeling better. That's very encouraging. I do want to talk about this breaking news that supposedly old Sleepy Joe's signing us up for nuclear World War III. He, I guess, ordered U.S. forces to prepare for possible nuclear confrontation with Russia, China, and North Korea. Meanwhile, Blinken's over in Qatar and demanding a ceasefire with Israel. I don't know what's happening. And I don't, oh, Sean's gone. There you are. And I don't, you had some information about some other stuff that was happening. What did you say, the Balkans or something?
well, yeah. So I remember at the beginning of all this, I said we're going to break the nuclear cherry, and you and everybody's like, no. Now I'm not so sure.
Johnny says the same thing, and I just thought, no way would they do that. But
was
maybe a small one.
Yeah,
like
yeah. So that's what I said. A
people.
tactical one.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that because we have to do that in order for us to have a real apocalypse. We have to use those weapons. So anyway, but I don't know if there's another thing I noticed, which I'll bring up later or whenever. But so so Ukraine was invaded by Russia. Ukraine is a victim. The reason for it is understandable why Russia did it. It's still wrong. But Russia bad. Ukraine is good. Fine. They're I mean, the joining a NATO thing was provocational, but okay. So now, exactly, Mr. Olfang. But now Ukraine has invaded Russia. They're not defending themselves. They're actually invading Russia.
Well,
So
that's
now,
what Putin had said during that interview to the U.S. or whatever with Tucker. He said that they, you know, how long do we let it go? Or I can't remember the exact words, but it was like Ukraine is the one encroaching on us, or you guys brought in
yeah, that's all BS.
our
That's all
the
BS.
U.S. military and all that.
The U.S.
backyard.
has I think it's broken the treaty like 7 times or 17 or 7 times since it was signed, like after World War II. NATO's expanded. But that's neither here nor there. So now Ukraine, backed by the United States, and massively backed by France. France wants a war bad with Russia, because Russia's taking over their secret holdings in Africa. But now Ukraine is the aggressor. They're attacking Russia. They're not defending their borders. They're not repelling an invader. They are attacking Russian towns. So the Baltic states, like Belarus, you could
They were hitting citizens, right?
Well, it's war, yeah. But so Belarus, you could expect, but there's 2 or 3 other countries that are like, no, we're going to attack Ukraine. They're coming into our area. So now it's not just Russia. It's not even just Belarus. It's there's like 2 or 3 other countries. Someone else could look it up, but they're talking about attacking. And I think one of them is a NATO country or was talking about becoming a NATO country. If a NATO country attacks Ukraine, Ukraine is not a NATO country. We would legally have to attack Ukraine. And that would be hilarious. Honestly, it would end it would have to end the war. Just one soldier gets shot or killed. If some country backs this new Baltic alliance, Ukraine's done. There's no way that we can't send them $1, let alone then also any soldiers that we have, mercenaries or not, any U.S. citizens that are over there fighting, they would be fighting with an enemy of NATO. If any NATO country joins that Baltic alliance, that they're all coming together, it's done. So I don't know, it's a mess.
Here's an article. It says Belarus has commented on the cross-border attacks. Central Asian nations stay mum. Let's see. Ukraine puts pressure on the aggressor, catches Russia off guard in Kursk. Oh, nice. Ukraine leverages limited resources for surprise incursion into Russia. Mapping Ukraine's surprise incursion into Russia. Kursk. So that's insane. There's maps showing it.
Estonia. Estonia, Latvia, Estonia,
Latvia. I think it's Latvia, right?
Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania is the one.
Okay.
And they're members of NATO and are close allies to the United States. For years, they have raised the alarm. Blah blah blah. So they received little response prior to the invasion of Ukraine. Estonian Foreign Affairs Minister Eva Martin Limited told NBC News Tuesday that Russia is not a direct threat at the moment, but her nation's defense and its future, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, which I think I'm part Lithuanian. And I know look, there's these other countries. Also, they're totally not talking about the Nazi thing anymore.
Oh, yes, they are.
They brought that back up. That's a good
There's
sign.
a movie coming out.
That's a good sign.
And they are going to, let me see. I know I shared it. And I was like, people are going to lose their minds.
I don't know, man. You know, they had a.
Here it is.
What's his name? Stephen King. That guy was pranking him. He's like, yeah, well, that guy's a Nazi and everything. He's like, well, no one's perfect, but we gotta support him.
It's not the Nazi word though. That's the wrong terminology. But yeah.
We've exposed the completely fraudulent narrative about Weimar Germany, the rise of Adolf Hitler, the propaganda machine of Auschwitz. And in the process, we've seen some pretty big names come out and agree. And then they go on and push the same truth to the American people who have watched in real time as the Israel war machine has put us on the edge of World War III while executing a genocide of these Palestinian women and children. This is an issue that goes deep. It tracks back thousands of years. It's touched every single corner of the planet. And it's something that we will continue exposing in our upcoming film, Occupy. It's a first-of-its-kind production. It'll look deep into the rat-infested, bloody mattress-filled sewers of this Jewish cabal. We've exposed the completely fraudulent...
There you go.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I mean, there's so much blatant hypocrisy that everyone sees now. Even if you're, oh, that's anti-Semitic, oh, I'm pro-Israel. I was raised, Israel first. That's it, the way it is.
Yeah, we all were.
And And I was raised hardcore, like New York Jews. I mean, I was surrounded by Jews in New York. Um, so it was like it was just without question. And now people are questioning, like me. Everyone's like, "Hey, Israel's our greatest ally." Why? I just want to just why.
Yeah.
This one, I was watching this one dude who was making the rounds on all the talk shows now, um, and he was talking about how Japan is our greatest ally, and he, with because it's right there with China, they're preparing for war with China. When they move into Taiwan, they're like literally there's islands that are part of Japan that are like connected to Taiwan, and they're like, if China attacks uh, Taiwan, they're going to take these islands because they already say that they own them. So, and so they think it's part of Taiwan, and that's why they own them. That's the only reason why they haven't attacked them. But they've attacked like ships. So Japan is gearing up for war. They've opened a bunch of new bases. They have like the Israeli, the Iron Dome. They have like
Mhm.
all those places. And it's like Okinawa and all these places where it's chilling because like they're small islands, so they're like just thousands of people, like your town. You got to live in a good sized town,
Mhm.
50,000 people, 40,000 people, and imagine like World War II, and like everything that happened in Okinawa was this huge bloody fight. There's still find bodies like all over the place, like bones that they have doing DNA. I mean, like lots, there's. It's like a hobby people have. They go and find bones and then turn them over to the government, and they try to find the families.
Yeah.
And now they're preparing for like another huge bloody war, and they have like these like endangered forests and stuff that are like protected parks,
Mhm.
and they've bulldozed them and put military bases up, and everyone's like, we're not even healed from the World War II. This is still like this graveyard island of tens of thousands of Americans and uh, Allied forces and tens of thousands of Japanese forces. They're all like our little island is just littered with horrid dead, and we're gearing up for another war. And they're like, by putting these military bases, you're putting a target on our sweet, quaint island again. But they know that China's going to come and attack, so it's a conundrum. But anyway, so this guy's talking about how Japan is really our greatest ally, and nobody really talks about it. And he's like, I don't know why Israel is what they say it. And that was my question. Just
Yeah,
why?
you've said that for a long time. Just
And,
tell me
and,
why.
and
Yeah.
then he brought something up. He said in the past 30 years, 20 years, whatever, they've done nothing but bad. Do you know why we went to war in Iraq? Do you know who said there's weapons
Well,
in
the
Iraq?
weapons of mass destruction from Bush, right?
No. Bush? Did Bush go look for it? Do you know where the information came from?
Mm-mm.
Israel's the one that told us that.
Oh,
All that it was. We say it's the CIA, but the CIA got everything from
Israel.
Mossad. So, and nobody brings that up. I didn't even know that because it's
You
just
know
Bush. It's just Bush lied to us.
Yeah.
Our government lied to us. But you'd think they'd point the finger. As angry as people were about that, they never pointed the finger and said, no, they told us it was
Because
mass
you're
destruction.
politically correct to not ever say, like, you get canceled and you
Yeah,
can't
this
say
is
anything against
before cancel was even a thing.
Israel.
This is like
That's
20,
true. That's
20
true.
years 20 years ago.
Yeah.
There was no kid. There was no Twitter. It wouldn't. None of that stuff was around. It's like 27. When we went to Iraq, there was barely 24-hour news. There was there was pre-MySpace. That was like maybe MySpace time, and people were pissed. And the government never said, "Hey, they told us there was They're like, yeah, man, we had credible intelligence, good intelligence. Our intelligence, they took the loss. Any other country, they would have been like, fucking Germany,
Well, but remember that our congressmen and women the majority of them have dual citizenship with Israel, even to this day. And so, of course,
this guy also brought up, I want to retire and move to Belize. We'll buy an island, little island, move to Belize. Whenever you move, retire, go to a different, country, you become an expat. You have to give up your citizenship to get citizenship in that country. That's why you become an expatriate. And you can sometimes come back and get your citizenship, but you have to do that. You know how many countries you can get citizenship and not give up your citizenship? One. It's Israel. And the whole reason for that is I've learned is that
they could hide.
They started the country and they're like, hey, you need to have citizens over there, and for them to run their country and have a legitimate country. But people are like, hey, me and my family are doing good here in New York and New Jersey or wherever, and we don't want to give up our U.S. citizenship to, become citizen. And they're like, okay, you don't have to give it up. You can keep
work for us.
You can keep it, and you can get that citizenship over there. Wow. That's it. A lot of it's, Joe started talking about and opened my eyes. Just the one question, when they say it's our greatest ally, just why?
Why?
Yeah. Saudi Arabia, they buy all of their stuff from us. They're the reason why we have the oil prices. There's two different kinds of Islam.
Well, the U.S. and Japanese economy are so tied. There's many others that you might think of being better candidates for
our great. In the Middle East alone, there's two different kinds of Muslims. There's the Sunni and the Shiites. Iran, I think, is Shiite, but they're fighting for control. One of them is much more militant. The other one's much more open. And we're allied with and Iran. You know what? I'm going to bring this up. So, oil-rich countries, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. These are the big oil-rich countries, all Sunni, and we're allied with these countries. Iran is not an oil-rich country. It's not considered an oil-rich country. Do you know what Iran is considered?
I do not know what their commodity is. No.
What is Ukraine considered?
Well, that's stuff I can't say on YouTube.
No, what is it considered when it comes to Europe?
Nuclear or child trafficking? Which part?
The good stuff. What is it considered to be the what of Europe?
The breadbasket.
The breadbasket. Mm-hmm. Iran is the breadbasket of the Middle East. Its main thing is food. Its main thing is agriculture and food for the entire Middle East. The two wars that we're being pushed towards are over food-producing countries.
That goes to I saw something today that showed how many countries or leadership, I don't know, they signed this thing saying they would reduce the population by 2030 or 20 something. And I can't even remember the numbers now, but I was just like shocked by it that they were making public statements about it. Kamala mentioned it in her speech to reduce population.
Have you seen she's obviously drunk. I thought it was a joke. I thought people were slowing down the film. But there's a person made a thread. It's like 35 different videos of different times. And you can, don't even look at her so much. Look at the people around her. She was talking to this group of high school volleyball people. And she's a wine mom. It is terrible.
What does that mean? A wine mom?
Okay, alcoholic mom. Everyone thinks, she's
like
just
during the day.
Yeah, day drinking wine mom. Like everyone thinks she's so fun, but she's drunk,
by the pool.
and she's joyous, but she's actually a lush. And you can see when she's talking to people, they're like, because when you're with a drunk person and you're not drunk,
it's not so fun.
You're like, yeah, but she's the vice president. You know what I mean? And they're like,
well, she's not. Really
but this person, and they said she's treated like a family treats an alcoholic. But when she took office, Biden they never let her talk. They didn't put her out in front of anything. They didn't give her any real jobs. They just like your alcoholic, Uncle John, keep him just keep Uncle John busy. He's drunk again. He's going to start shit, put on his favorite movie, whatever. Keep him busy and out of shit. That's how they treated her. And now that they don't want her talking to people off the cuff. They're trying to hide her. Joe, it was because he was incoherent. But with her, it's because she's out of it. She's out of it. And when you watch the videos, it's so, because she's not dumb. She's not like an airhead. She's
a prostitute.
But she's not stupid. And she is just she's always laughing and, talking with, and if you watch the way she stumbles, she falls backwards a lot. And she makes it look like it's, like she's just like doing like a little dance and move, but she's literally off balance. She's drunk all the time, it looks like to me. It really does. And people are starting to talk about that. People are starting to see that. That's why things are unraveling, because she's just not
good. Makes me feel like the movie's winding down. Bessart, thank you for joining us. We're not talking about Litecoin today. Well, we always kind of talk about it. But if you want to hear some great information, go watch Aaron Day's channel. Last night, our friend I Am, who's in the chat now, was on, and they were talking about privacy solutions with the upcoming CBDC threat that everybody thinks is coming. It was a really great show, interview, lots of good information. So you can find more there. I want to play this video because it's hilarious, but kind of rude.
So y'all know my friend Sid. He's the one that has the very political Trump signs behind Buc-ee's. Before I show you the sign, I was kind of confused on what it meant. So he's going to explain it to you before I show you.
Willie Brown. Kamala Harris was Willie Brown's whore. So if you know what goes on with a whore, you understand the sign. Hello.
It was a little above my head, so I was like, but let me show you the sign. This one's a little...
Willie Brown was the mayor of San Francisco.
Oh.
And at the debate, Trump has Willie Brown's ex-wife sitting front row for the debate. So it's going to be interesting.
This sign's a little spicy, so let me go show you this sign. If you are easily offended by politics, don't even watch this video. I don't want your feelings hurt. So let me show you the sign. So his sign this week says, well, this will be the first time in American history that both candidates have taken shots to the face. There's our boy Trump. Don't even come at me with the hate comments. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to read them.
Anyway, I just thought the smut is getting deep. Like our DNC is happening this week. And it's like everyone is just, they're accusing Trump of stuff that they actually did, like weaponizing the FBI against him and all the lawfare. They're accusing him of that he's going to do that. Like
I watched
both sides.
The Hillary thing.
She had no neck at all.
Everyone was chanting,
lock him up.
Lock him up to her. And she's like, yeah. And I was like, man, how do you get to this from lock her up. It was just, but it's working. I mean, there's people that my kids.
No, so they're actually,
100%. There's 100%. when
They've
she
had to call in the police. They've had to build walls
when
to
she
protect them. There's people rioting like crazy,
and that's what
fighting
they tell
within
everyone
its own party, though, within the DNC.
and that's what they tell everyone else about the RNC. But she picked that guy, never heard of the dude. And then the first thing I hear with my circle of 2A is the stolen valor thing. And I was like, oh, what a piece of shit. And then, but they had just passed in Minnesota one of the worst laws that I'd ever heard of. I don't know if you know about it. You know the stand your ground law.
I don't know what that means. No, I
The
don't
stand your
know.
ground law, if somebody tried to tax you,
I mean, it makes sense if somebody came into your house or something.
right,
You,
you have the right to defend yourself.
yeah, I
That's
could.
why that guy that shot someone who was trying to rob him in Florida years ago was okay.
Mm-hmm.
So most states have the stand your ground law, but even if they don't, you're allowed to defend yourself. So Minnesota has passed this law where it is the requirement of surrender law. So you have to surrender or run.
What?
If you don't, you can't defend yourself. So if you don't try to run away or surrender first, then you are in trouble for defending yourself. This is a law.
That's insane.
Exactly. That passed like a month ago, or 3 weeks ago, right before she picked him. So that's all I knew about Minnesota. And I was like, well, that's shitty. Then I found out this, stuff is shitty with the stolen valor and slimy. And I was like, man, you see this dude Kamala picked for vice president, what an idiot. And then I was like, yeah, I thought he was a pretty cool dude. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like he gave free lunches to all the school kids. I'm like, that's just a thing. And he was like, no, it's not. There's like most states don't have free lunches. And I couldn't disagree with him. Like, well, that's terrible. I think also public schools, what the hell do we pay all this money for in, property tax and stuff if kids don't have free lunch? So everyone should have free lunch. But that's what people are told. This is just a nice guy who cares about getting kids free lunches. There's a lot of stuff that's come out about the dude that's just weird and odd. But
well, what about the Georgia information that you turned me on to? That was something positive.
It's a huge thing. Yeah, let's jump over to my channel.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it on your channel. And big news out of Georgia, changing the
very big
elections. Yeah.
Remember, hit the like button and come over to my channel. Make sure you subscribe and like.
There's a link.
If they unsubscribe you, I know they do.
Thanks for being here.